Welcome. This is the day 3 video blog, and we must fix the lighting once again. This is Health Alchemy YouTube channel, and we're here to talk about the raw truth. So I have what I do is I have an email that goes out right after this to my group, and then there's a Telegram group too. And welcome, if you're kind of following along, or if you're just wanting to check out, learn some things, or you're just wanting to hear some stories, then, new friend of mine was saying one of his thumbnails on his YouTube is vulnerable sharing makes good storytelling. And boy, I couldn't agree more. Vulnerable sharing. But that's not what we're here to talk about tonight. And you'll notice the music in the background is now going away. All right. There's a few things I have in my life that most people don't know, but I probably play music sometimes all night, and it's usually kirtan. And someone, on the outside could ask, why do you play music all day? And well, first off, the music I play is meant to bring the mind back to the present. So it's various forms of call and response, or kirtan, sort of as Simon Says, the Hare Krishna chant, the one that most people know. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. So, if you don't know the words in Hindu or the other languages, one guy, Krishna Das, used to say, just sing from your heart to the divine. And then there are those walking the planet now that don't even have a divine anything. And that's sort of what the cleansing or the experience brings us, because it's always and already there. That's the thing. And so it's kind of hard to deny something that's always and already present. In my world, it's like the elephant in the room, that I sort of giggle. It's yerba mate, so it's not quite cleanse worthy. And I'm going to talk about this actually. But I bring it in consciously and say, hey, here it is. I supported these guys long ago in '96 when a bunch of us opened up Natural Flavors, a vegan restaurant, when I was getting my bachelor's degree in nutrition. And then the years following, we built up a network in San Luis Obispo. But that's not why I'm sharing tonight. So we'll move on. The caffeine is the point. So for those of you on here, welcome. We're going to go into a screen share now and go into a little bit of nuts and bolts, and then I'll tell a vulnerable sherry story. So you can see this is kind of the agenda from the email going out. So comfortably numb no longer. You'll notice the comfortably numb is right there. And so I think that to start off, I think I will start off with the personal story. So this is not a crazy cleanse story. It's more of a personal observation, and we can even use a whiteboard. So we have sort of a, like, people don't understand this, but Michael Pollan has I guess his newest book, not new, but newest. He talks about the process caffeine and why plants make caffeine, and these alkaloids, and they're poisons, folks, and so it sort of took away some of the luster of it when I realized what they were. But I have my own draw, and there were certain things my mother was doing in the womb before she knew she was pregnant with me, we'll just say. And I think my draw to stimulants is because of that. There's sort of an association with comfort. And one elder wise lady once told me, I'm kind of a highly sexualized man. She said, you men are always trying to go back where you came from. And I laugh out loud. Yes, I think you're right. You men are always trying to go back to where you came from. And you know why? It's safe. Well, some are safe. We all know that you don't really get intimate unless you feel safe and secure and welcome with someone. But when you're young, some of us that are more sexualized, we bypass that. And that's part of the comfortably numb thing that I'm going to talk about. So I've studied, when I started in health, I didn't know what I was doing. That was 36 years ago, broke my neck in a car accident. So my journey kind of was fumbling forward, trying to follow what my teacher now says, the best you can do is try to align with what's already happening inside you. Oh, and by the way, my goal tonight was, again, 5 or 10 minutes, but you all know that's not going to happen. So we'll probably end up breaking this one up too in the future into smaller tidbits. But so we use stimulants, and then it brings us into a part of consciousness. Like if we're trying to be more free and more in our body and feel more and have more joy, well, guess what? We got to be able to feel the opposite too, because if we block one feeling, we block them all. And that's kind of well known in psychology in general. So caffeine is an accelerant, stimulant, and anything that's stimulating, it's like, okay, you put your foot on the accelerator in the car, what happens to the scenery when you're driving by? You're not going to catch the small details of the ants on the road, or the little weed popping up, or the little rose plant, or the mother helping her child find some cute little, plant down the ground by the freeway there. And then the slower we go, the more we notice those details. And the world of the plants live in, and the way that most of the world lives outside of the West and some of the faster metropolitan areas, what that used to be, is a slower way. And so, like, I watch plants grow. I've been observing plants for 30 years. I mean, it was a good 4 or 5 years after I broke my neck, I had an experience with a plant that I'll talk about another time. So the stimulant brings us up and out, and that's part of what the caffeine, I believe, is meant to do to the animal, is delude the animal enough and scare the animal enough, because one of my teachers said, caffeine makes everything more dramatic. Caffeine makes everything more dramatic. So strap in, baby. I tend to agree. But I've been accused of being a drama queen many times in my life. So got to own the observations of others to a degree, right? So the caffeine, then, the benefit of, we get, when we're on cortisol rush and adrenaline, we're just numb. That's the definition of why you give someone cortisone, is to numb the pain. But the price we pay is it's catabolic. So it's tearing tissue down. And in that process of tearing tissue down, there's energy and these things liberated. So the admission price is the immune system gets depressed, the adrenals get depressed, and generally the connective tissue or the bone density gets less. And you could say your yin gets used up. And, if you've know how to do that dance, then great. I'm one of those people that, if I hurt myself, I know that my body's going to make my own endorphins. So I'm really skeptical about, chemical pain relievers, because I haven't taken one in 32 years. And that's another long story. I haven't taken anything, nothing, zero, no medical, anything for 32 years, because my experience 32 years ago was so bad. And the experience about 6 years prior to that was also so bad. I almost died, So I don't trust them. I would only go into the hospital under life-saving, heroic measures at this point, and say, just let me go. I don't want anywhere near that demon pit that most hospitals are. And if you know what I know, you know that that's definitely an accurate statement. There are good people stuck in these demon pits. And hopefully it's changing, but I won't go on and on that about my judgments and experience there. It's really for each of us to see for ourselves and really navigate that. The insurance is also part of this. Okay, so NUMB for me, rocky road a few months ago, back in February, business decision went wrong. A few last year didn't turn out the way I wanted to. And so it's like, okay, life gives us this, and then we got to do something with the lemons. We make lemonade. So what I was able to uncover out of the last few months is who sort of my true friends are. And we're going to bless Ian Gordon here, who's been hosting me. And he's allowing me to help you because of his help for me. And that's not lost on him, because he knows who I can reach and the influence I have. So if I don't have to worry as much about finances, then I can reach more people. And then he can say, I helped this guy reach more people. And karmically, that's working out very well for him. That's what he wanted. So we're going to bless him. And I've been messing with, the last couple of days, these little, my friend does these, there's 30 strains of this mycelium, of these mushrooms in this little chocolate. Yes, I know. And so I was playing with that in an oral cannabis that a friend of mine in the Freedom Group here made. And so kind of lowering the caffeine over the last, coffee last 6 days. And I mentioned yesterday, I had ratcheted down to probably half of it. And what the coffee dose was coffee, kratom, mate, black tea. On some days, it was all of the above. And, little bits throughout the day. Because I know, like, I'd have this and I might not even finish this. I might drink half of it and my body will go, I'm done. I don't need any more. And that's how it is with stimulants with me, is I just use them as a match, and you throw the match in and get the fire going. You don't need to keep doing it, because if you keep doing the medicine, then the premium fuel, the stimulant, will actually, anything that's extreme becomes its opposite. It's well known in Chinese medicine, yin yang theory. Anything that's extreme becomes its opposite. So go check that out for yourself. You won't like it, some of these tenets of life. So really the raw truth, kind of, I'm dancing around it, is, yeah, there's pain, and I hear devastating, catastrophic, gut punch, tear your heart out stories, at least one a week, sometimes daily, and sometimes 10 or 20 will come in 1 week, and a bunch in 1 day. And then, if you have a heart, most people really trust the government, and they trust the people with authority who have their creative powers hopefully in mind. But what's happened is that the people in the positions of power were at a historic moment of corruption. And, most of you watching this, I'm preaching to the choir. So the question is, how do you reach those on the fence? And by cleansing and opening up and feeling some discomfort, then it opens up the windows for others potentially to do the same, and modeling, like, not comfortable day. Caffeine went down another half today. So I was down around, by the time I left my house for the farmer's market today, about 12:30, because that was my big test today, was let's get to the farmer's market on the other side of the county on my e-bike and back. And so I went for the Gold Rush. Oh, I got to show you the Gold Rush apples tomorrow night. Craig went 45-minute bike ride each way from Aptos to downtown Santa Cruz on an e-bike. It takes about 45 minutes for these Gold Rush apples from Pinnacle Farm. You might ask yourself, what the F? Well, it made me happy thinking about it. And so these are Granny Smith apples on these old apple trees out in Hollister. I talked to the farmers, might want to talk to your farmers, see what they're doing. So he said, oh yeah, we're these apples, they're Granny Smith, heirloom Granny Smiths, but when the sun hits them, they bleach gold. Like, they turn, in extreme, they will turn that bright of a yellow gold. So you have part of it that's not in the sun, like the backside of the apple away from the sun will be green, and then the part hitting the sun will it'll turn all the way to brown if it gets bleached anymore. And so I'd ask you folks, what is that process occurring? The green is turning golden, and the light of the sun is golden to some degree. So it asks you, like, so these apples are sweet and sour. I don't like a sweet apple. I don't like Red Delicious. Yuck. I like sweet and sour apples. They got to be crisp. They've got to be crunchy and juicy. And there's a sixth parameter that's sort of important too, because some of the mutsus have all the five, but then they have this weird, heavy, fibrous, when you're done chewing and all the sweet's done, then there's this heavy fiber, this mushy fiber, and the Gold Rush sort of disintegrates in your mouth except for the peel. It literally just, it's like an explosion of candy. It's the only thing I can say. These are so sweet. So these do not fall on the low carb diet. And if I eat one too close to bed, I will have a loose bowel movement in the morning and I won't feel good. It's just too much sugar. And apples are generally good for blood sugar because it's released slower. But these apples are like pineapples. They're so high in sugar. It's just ridiculous. So I'm not feeling good in body. I'm serving, and I've set up most of my days now to be in relationship with someone, Zoom, phone call, in-person appointments. The plants have suffered because of that, but it's the time of year where the plants can suffer because we're all doing this anyway. So as the energy is doing this, that's why you see brown leaves, because the life force is moving down into the trunk and the periphery. That's why we get dry skin in cold weather, because all the life force has gone into the middle, and the periphery gets less, and then there's less energy and resources, so they die. So yeah, the raw truth was not feeling well today. there's good and mixed good and bad news comes in. I can't go with the hopium people, the anons, the QAnons, and the Jasaras, and I've just seen too much about the art of war with the intrigue of the world leadership that until it's done, because the geoengineering, I had a day 4 or 5 days ago. It took me down for 2 or 3 days. It was really a bad chemtrail day. So my desire to be comfortably numb, as the Pink Floyd sequence was so good, that really, I saw the wall, and I was, I went home and cried, and then I watched it a couple more times, and I was still sort of believing in the USA when I saw that for the first time. I'd shaved my head and become a punk rocker, but I was, wow. And so this is 40 years later, folks. I've kind of seen what the USA is, the face of the demon, laid over. And, like you see women like Tulsi Gabbard quitting the Democratic Party, that's, I get disturbed. And so this comfortably numb thing, let's go back to the screen share then, because that's going to lead to the next part of the story, is ratcheting down the caffeine means, maybe not yet, means feeling more and coming more from here and less from here. And getting off the coffee takes away some kind of this weird smoky fog in my awareness too. I notice like I'm more aware of what the caffeine's doing to me in green tea, mate, black tea, or even kratom, but it's harder to see what it's doing with the coffee. And it's really interesting. Little distinction I just noticed in this latest use of caffeine. So then today I get home from the bike ride, and if we're gonna die like tomorrow, then if I'm gonna die tomorrow, then I want to make sure today I really lived, and so there was some leaning in, like, what is this discomfort, and kind of knowing, and getting home and then just going, okay, I've been out and about helping others all morning, going and getting stuff for myself today at the farmer's market. Really, downtown is full of radiation and activity. And so came home and was just sort of a mess. A bunch of people pulling at me, more than I could, in overwhelm mode. And then I realized I've got to find my way over to this Aqua Cure, put on the light 528 frequency and put the cannulus in my nose, and then blew it in. And turn on what I call my spirit shuffle. So I have a Pandora, and I put on, 4 or 5 stations that I deem relevant for my meditation. And again, it's kirtan. So the first song that comes on is Michael Franti, have a little faith in me, I'll have a little faith in you. And I don't know if he's singing to a lover, but I've developed a relationship with grace. And so that's my message. I've been listening to Bob Marley for 30, 35 years too. And whenever I need to hear something, it's like the switchboard brings in, and then I just blew up into tears. And just, it's like it rises up, and then it feels like this feeling right here. And then there's this mist that comes into my eyes, and then it was just gushing. And it's the words of the song were so perfect, because it was like, have a little faith in me, I'll have a little faith in you. Basically, I'm always taking care of you. And that's what grace is, the bigger part of me anyways. And self-tending, really, the psychologist would say it's self-tending, self-care, holding myself in a hug versus going into the outside world to seek that. And that's something that I was mentioning in the email. So to keep myself on track, let's see if I am on track on the email. Yeah, relationship with grace. Okay, crazy cleanse story time. And then day 6, no coffee. So crazy cleanse story. All right. I'm going to go into a whiteboard to show you guys this, my theory, but we'll just start off with the oration part. So, when we have stuff that tries to work its way out, and there's various poultices you can put on the body with herbs, and it will literally draw stuff up to the surface, like tumors or warts, or and there's names for these. I won't go into it now, but it'll just get you guys all fascinated on another topic, because I generally throw out a lot. So in my own journey, let's start off, which I'll go up to age 21 and tell you what happened. Birth, not breastfed. Mom didn't know, there's no guilt on mom's part. I really have to, make sure that my mom knows that, hey, she didn't know any better. So there's no guilt on my side. mothers generally, and my mother especially, generally always wanted to do the best for her kids, you know. And so that's kind of what I ran with. Okay, and then so not breastfed. That means a lot of immune factors, a lot of the gut flora, a lot of just sort of a base foundational connection to the biome of the earth is not established. And I don't think I really healed that until well into my late 30s. But that's another story. So you get that, and then you realize, okay, I was empathic, and so I was squelched at age 4 again by my mother, who again didn't know any better. Talk to spirits, and she'd say you can't talk to spirits because people will think you're crazy. And it comes out of a worried, concerned place. And those women around me that they're just, I'll call them high level mothers, they already know what I tell many thousands of my female clients is if you're worried or you get mad at the kids, then you need to go back to, why am I worried? Why am I mad? Oh, I care. And then you operate and you send that out, the care versus the extraneous baggage, which is the worry or the anxiety. Oh, I'm so worried about you. That doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help the recipient. Oh, I've been praying for you and blessing you. Boy, that just feels a lot better as a recipient. So that's what I try to do, is I try to avoid telling anyone, oh, I'm worried about you. You don't look good today. What happened to you? You're like asleep, the bag's under your eyes. But people do not want to be introduced that way. It's like the biggest faux pas to feeling good in conversation is, welcome. That's what I want to hear. Welcome. You're safe here. And let's banter and be Kramer together. So the long and the short of it is, my experience after 36 years is the body wants to heal. So I'm accumulating all these toxins, okay? Then my awareness got suppressed because then I thought, oh, the adults think I'm crazy, but I'm seeing and feeling things other people aren't seeing and feeling. So within a year or two, by age 6 or 7, I was successfully manipulating the adults to get my desired outcomes in conversations and all kinds of stuff. To this day, I don't know a lot about my family and friends. I'm sort of outing myself now, but I was, my brother knows, Chris knows, master manipulator. And it wasn't in a bad way. It's just that when you're traumatized, and it's just little traumas, little things that just didn't add up, and little things that weren't processed. And then we control our environment when we're traumatized, and we manipulate. So it's not like it was evil intentions, oh, I'm going to get all your money or, use you. It's more like, I'm going to manipulate this so I'm comfortable because I've already shapeshifted for you to be in your conversation about your beer or whatever when I was a kid. And I'd be like rolling my eyes going, I'm going to manipulate this person to talk about this. And I know now that they call that charm, enchantment, or a spell is around people. So antibiotics, probably a few times a year, every year. Growing up, antibiotics, then allergy shots, 10 in each arm right here, from age 5 to age 15, 10 in each arm for 10 years, pretty much weekly. People laugh. It was Kaiser on Kylie Boulevard in San Jose. It's a big campus now, but imagine there was just one building there with a parking lot around it and maybe a few smaller outbuildings. And when I was there in 1970 to 80, it was age 5 to age 15 was from 1970 to 1980. So the whole 70s I was in there. And oh my God, it actually came to the point where it's sad me get used to being in the hospital. And it didn't really help. So accumulated a lot of toxins, right? By the way, that's 20 shots a week. There's just say 50 weeks a year times 10 years. I paused the recording there, folks. So what you're seeing is, if you're watching the recording, there's a transition. Someone came in kind of practicing these open office hours in the studio I'm at. So beg your pardon. So we're kind of going into the crazy cleanse stories. So I'm going to go right into that now. So we're kind of like talking about before age 21 and toxification. And then we'll fast forward to broken neck, age 21. So I'd say the crescendo of Craig 1.0 ended the summer of 1986, I'd gone 2 years to Cabrillo for the junior college here because I wanted to be an architect from roughly junior high, Scotts Valley High School, age 11, 12, to it died at 21 when I broke my neck. So for 10 years, I mean, I had given everything. I was near the top of my class and all my classes in junior high and high school in drafting and architecture study. And then at Cabrillo, they didn't really offer a lot of architecture. This was 1983, 84, 85 when I was there. But I had some good passive solar design classes in the mid 80s at Cabrillo College. That was, top notch. Learned a lot about passive solar design. And but I didn't do any drawing of houses for 2 years, and that really so I went to Cal Poly my first year and did pretty well. My advisors were like, hey, and then I missed the whole fall quarter after I broke my neck in 1986, age 21. And so I got behind my classmates, who were in my group in this architecture program. And then I realized when I broke my neck, like something obviously had shifted, and I didn't really know what. I just knew that based on what I had heard my advisors say and what reality was I probably should shift away from architecture. But I was stuck because you can't change majors at Cal Poly at the time. And what did I do? I attempted to change majors. So I almost didn't pull it off, but because I'm me and I seem to be able to manipulate reality, I was able to manipulate one dean and two advisors and charmed one female into finagling around for literally for 2 quarters. I was taking business classes and getting flagged for it. Why taking business classes when you're in architecture? But I had satisfied the 2 or 3 needs to get in the business program by doing that. So the business school accepted me. The architectural school was upset. But so that summer, after that, that was after that summer, I had broken my neck, and that whole fall was a reevaluation. So I went back to school 1987 January, and that was when that winter and spring quarter was when I shifted. So by the summer of 87, I was in the business program, and I didn't even know what I was going to do with that. But one of my housemates, Santa Cruz housemate down there in San Luis Obispo. So the broken neck started like, what am I going to do? You could all imagine, what am I going to do? Broken neck. So I went to yoga first because the physical therapy was that bad, and I really wanted to surf. So 2 weeks out of the halo brace, I was told you'll never surf again, blah, 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 disclaimer, fear, fear, fear. So I got angry. That was part of my journey, was getting angry, was to throw off the projection of fear that the doctor, who was only projecting how he would feel if he was in my position laying there in the bed with a broken neck, but he is not Craig Lane. So that was part of my first step of my healing, was to throw off the projections of others. And then the next step was to be drawn to yoga, which was some just divine signal. And I lived from the car accident by a divine intervention. The doctors were astounded I was alive. I mean, it was like jaws of life getting me out of this crumpled up Coke can car. But I won't go into the details of the accident. And then age 25, had a huge moment awakening, doing a meditation with the Ram Dass meditation, an inquiry on the nature of reality and who am I. And then that really started to shift stuff. And so in this process of detoxifying, I discovered that the body kind of naturally wants to heal, and it's not a robotic automaton, and chemistry is sort of like in question. What we call chemistry is, study of dead matter. And the study of life was what I was becoming interested in. So the crazy cleanse story kind of starts with, I had gone through, remember, immune problems, colds every month, terrible allergies, hay fever on steroids. I'd sneeze 50 times and then have to lay down for an hour, because the force of making yourself sneeze is a lot of energy. It's a lot of fire, and the adrenals have to launch that, just like coughing too, chronic coughing, chronic sneezing. Anytime the body's trying to get something out, chronic cramps, the adrenals are driving that. The kidney yang, they call it. It's a yang electrical energy, and it gets tired. If you're running a race for a long time, you're going to get tired. So I knew that I had some things that when I started to learn some stuff, I said, oh, I need to really get stuff going on. I didn't know, I would see a lot of people that had tumors coming out when I was studying the macrobiotics in the 90s. But when I started my path, kind of had my awakening in 1990, up until I got finished with macrobiotic school in 96, 97, that was a large period of exploration from age 25. Really started at 1989 when the earthquake happened. I was down in LA. And so the body's trying to do this. So if the drainage outlets of the body, which let's go to a screen share now, the drainage outlets of the body, you can find this information in the Google Drive. And so the large intestine is a drainage outlet, but if you wanted to find that, you'd go to the fall cleanse. And so there's 4 types of toxins you could look at here, but I believe the fall cleanse master sheet will give you cover sheet. I don't know that the 4 foundations are actually in here, this cover sheet. So on the website, you could go to the 4 foundations page, but I'll just pull it up. Oh, you know what? It's actually in, I will make that public for you guys. So this is my master manual for my team of nutrition. There we go. So there's a simple chart here. So foundation 1, blow this up, maybe even a little bigger, 150, there we go. So foundation 1, what do I eat, when, and how much? So that's what I call the chooser. Foundation 2, food breakdown. Can I break food down enough to get energy and rebuild my body? Foundation 3, can I break down waste toxins and decongest my body? Foundation 4, can I get waste out? So if your drainage outlets, foundation 4, if you don't poop well, you're constipated, and your urine's all messed up, and your breathing's messed up, your skin's going to suffer because the skin becomes a drainage outlet. Do you make saliva? Are your ears, nose, and eyes moist? Can you sweat? Those are all your natural drainage outlets, folks. And if they aren't working well, then you're going to have these boils, and there's just, the body gets overwhelmed. Your little Pac-Men that are eating up waste that just can't take the amount of waste, and they get, it's like a garbage truck with too much garbage, and then you get swollen, right? You get swollen. So there's another way of looking at it here. See, Health Foundation 4 is elimination, the final exit of toxins. So if you're not having a bowel movement 24 hours after every time you eat, then you're in trouble. You're backing up waste. And see, there's foundation 3, as we call that detoxification. And these are the main types of things that need to be detoxed or transformed. Foundation 2 is, you know, can you digest and assimilate? Can you break foods down? And then the Health Foundation 1 is, are you a high octane fuel paleo type? Are you a low octane carb type? Or are you a mixed type that's adaptable? Well, most people are kind of a mixed type adaptable. So you just observe how you feel after you eat. And that's how I know that I can't cleanse on carbohydrates, because I always had a rocky road cleansing on carbohydrates and a lot of symptoms. So let's go to a whiteboard now. So you get a little back, I had to give you the backstory that I know these things now, but when this was occurring, when this happened, I wasn't quite sure. And I got a hemorrhoid, and I'm not a hemorrhoid guy. So I'm going to describe to you via this whiteboard screen share what I think happened. It was very painful and very unusual. Oh, all the tools went away. I see. So let's attempt to draw something here. And please pardon me and my semi-terrible drawing skills here. This does move. That's very nice. Okay. So let's do a, I'm going to have to do a freehand draw here. Oh, no, we can do 2 butt cheeks. We'll do 2 butt cheeks to start. Do those in orange. So pretend these are your butt cheeks. Laugh out loud. So these are your butt cheeks. Need to move those down a little bit, actually. Okay, select. So we move those down. We leave a little gap for the rectum. Okay. So hemorrhoids, if this is the rectum down here at the bottom, so we'll do that in, we'll just do that in black. Hey, I said text. So this is the rectum. Oh, that doesn't work. We'll draw a little arrow. And let's do the arrow. I'll do the arrow in black. So the rectum's right there. And then I guess we're going to have to draw some kind of intestines here. So we'll do a freehand. We'll do that in red. Actually, red is not really appealing. Let's do it in dark brown. Okay. So you got this tube that comes down here. And then you've got these other tubes that we'll do in green for the liver, these portal veins going back up to this liver thing. And then you got this liver thing over here. And we'll just call that LV for liver. So all these veins here are going up towards the liver. All these veins here are going up towards the liver. And if they get congested, so say one of these blood vessels, let's now draw another circle, do it in red. So say a little cross section of one of these blood vessels is supposed to be like that. And you see there's a certain amount of blood flow that goes through it, right? There's a certain amount of blood flow that goes through that. So I'm getting somewhere with this. So I had a hemorrhoid right there, right on the outside. So we'll put a little text there for that. Black again. Hemorrhoid right at exit point. Very painful. Now I knew enough at this point to know that I had something clogged up over here. So if these over here get clogged up, these portal veins towards the liver, then the fluid can't go up in there. Let's go back to the freehand and green. Then the fluid gets backed up right here. And so it starts to swell outward. So this all swells outward. And when the body wants to start getting rid of the toxins and all this tissue here, because the flow is starting to work, then my theory is this hemorrhoid sort of emerged like, so when these veins here get clogged, sorry, so we'll do brown as the clog. So pretend that that's now how wide your blood vessels actually are at the brown. And so you see that's why the fluid backs up, because you have a hose that's this diameter and now it's this diameter, it can't hold as much water. And so the body was trying, I believe, we'll use that in red and we'll do another arrow here. The body was trying to release something right there. So it's pushing out the waste. So this was the waste, we'll call it waste in a package. Because this hemorrhoid, in quotes, it popped and this clot came out. Like it literally, it popped, must have wiped or something. And this clot that was about the size of a quarter came out. And so it was this brown, let's do a freehand drawing. It was just like this clot about that big right there comes out, and it was brown, not that color. So it was brown and red, and it was like jelly, and I'm looking at this going, I don't think that's a hemorrhoid, and it bled. But I was with the standard process people. I knew enough that, let's see, that was 13 years ago. Yeah, 2009 was when this happened. So it was actually more recent. 13 years ago, it puts me at 44 years old. So I was 44 when this happened. You see how long I've been cleansing, well into my late 20s and 30s. So it took a good 10 or 15 years for my body to gather enough resources to get this waste in a package sort of out. And then it emerges as this blob over here on the right. And then I did my astringent. So if you have a bleeding hemorrhoid like that, you need the chlorophyll ointment from Standard Process is great. And but you need to be doing coffee enemas and get these portal veins dissolved. The roots of hemorrhoids are stagnant portal veins. So you got to do leg lifts, Pilates, castor oil packs. You got to work those muscles. You got to work the psoas muscle and lift your legs up. Crunches don't get this. And more movement. And generally you can do Kegels will help down there too. And then Collinsonia root is a stone root. Collinsonia root or stone root is really the best remedy. And you could put it on topically, or oak bark is very astringent. Plantain's very astringent. Yarrow's astringent. See, what you do is you chew that up or mash it and get the juice out and put that right on the hemorrhoid. Sounds weird, but it really works well. Stop that bleeding. Okay, folks, that's that vulnerable story. I think we'll just save that in case somebody wants to see that later. And I believe that we have a couple of little logistics to talk about, and then tonight's video blog will be done. So email. Yeah, so the stimulant use, the comfortably numb is really what I wanted to say there. And then finally, there was a diagram here I wanted to show you guys to end with. So again, this is all accessible to you through the website. So we're in week 1. And it was just really back to, see right here, this is an important slide right here, I believe. Really tells you the process of digestion. And it also shows you some of the anatomy of the intestines. You have a little respect for the anatomy of the intestines here. I'm not going to go into it here. And then there's the portal veins, is sort of a very simplified chart. So you have this large intestine, small intestine, stomach, mouth, esophagus, rectum, sort of. And then there's this portal vein thing. And these veins take the circulation over to the liver, and then the liver delivers it to the heart, and then the heart delivers it to every system of the body. So the coffee enema gets those blue arrows bigger. And that tells you how fat is digested. See, it goes into the lymph vessel. So if your lymph system is clogged and you're not moving, you are not going to digest fat well. Let me repeat that. If your lymph system is clogged due to especially not moving, because the lymph system won't move unless you move, then, hey, you're not going to be able to digest fat well. All right. I wanted to just give you guys a little quick preview there. And then finally, the 21-day thing, I'll update that as of today. So I bought radishes and beets today, so that was a success. I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to highlight the radish. What the heck? There's some weird stuff going on in the, oh, it's because it's on Zoom. I see. So we'll highlight that. Fill color will be yellow. Fill color will be yellow. So that was successfully. Willpower. Yeah, I didn't feel good today. So I feel really good about how I handled my day today. So willpower was a success. Did I get any raw carrots in today? No. So that was a failure. Cooked only chia cakes? No. But farmer's market? Yes, that did get done. So in terms of success for today, I did buy the radishes and the beets. I did make a stew that, so it's got raw greens on the bottom. It's the first cooked food I've actually had in 4 or 5 days. I had lamb liver. I marinated today. So I took my lamb liver and sliced it thin from US Wellness Meats. And then I marinated it in lemon and salt and garlic, and then my own homemade teriyaki sauce, which is just basically coconut aminos, soy sauce, ginger, garlic, and it's literally that simple. A little extra salt and lemon in this case. And oh, and I put a teaspoon of fresh ground black pepper, and that really did the trick. So even only after marinating an hour, I ate about 3 of the little lamb liver pieces, and then huge success, because I'm one of those people that I can eat raw liver and cleanse. I did have cooked food. I had hard-boiled egg salad a couple hours ago. I didn't really eat much today because I was trying out the cannabis mushroom experience across town, and yeah, waited too long to eat. And that's part of tomorrow's topic will be radiation. So I'll write that one down. You know, fasting and the radiation exposure, it's kind of a problem. Radiation exposure. Write that down for tomorrow's topics. That's what I saw today was, so saturated fat, cholesterol, and protein-rich foods are our main buffer against radiation, and then the bioflavonoids, which is like your dark berries and whatnot. So tomorrow then, yeah, I think I could make some chia cakes. Could definitely eat a bunch of raw apples, but there'll be raw apples in the radish and beet salad. So the goal tomorrow is to make a healthy ranch dressing, although I won't be using that as much, but the sour cream is cultured. It would be the only, quote, marginal ingredient. And then the radish, beet, and onion salad, which are in the recipe favorites. Those 3 recipes are the top recipes I could recommend to anybody. So if you're doing the cleanse, go to the radish, beet, and onion salad. And raw apples will be part of those salads. So that'll be, willpower will be easy tomorrow. And then I won't be leaving the house. I'm definitely planning on Saturday being a fasting day. So I'm going to highlight that and bold it. That's the first fasting day I sort of have set up, is this Saturday. And it will definitely also be a quiet day. Quiet day. I'm going to bold that out. And so we're going to make that a big focus on Saturday's fasting. So a fasting day, I almost have the whole schedule done on what would be an ideal fasting day. And then see, a typical day, I still haven't, like today, this is zone all the way up until about, I didn't get out of bed until 7:30 today. Then I went right into an 8:30 call, and then got a few things done, and then out the door kind of too fast at 12:15 to the farmer's market, because that was part of that will. So if anyone wants to chime in, you know, you can help me with what you're doing, you know, with your life on a typical day. But the goal is it's 8:35 tonight. So I've made amends. I was up last night until after 12. No, actually 11:30, 12. So today I'm making amends. I'm going to be in bed 10, 11 more likely. And then tomorrow and Friday will be stationary days, and Saturday will be stationary days, and then Sunday I'll go out again. But right now we're in the accelerated contraction of nature. And so it's also very foggy here in Aptos. Today was the first day I saw the sun for more than a few hours in almost a week. So it's really strange to say that, because I know the rest of you are still in this nice, beautiful autumn weather. And here on the coastline, it's kind of problematic. I don't even know how long this video went today, but I hope there's worth and value for all of you. And if you find, you know, if you're on the Telegram group or the YouTube comment, if you find a particular minute or a section that could be clipped off and you thought was particularly good, just let me know and give me the timestamp, and I will be happy to just cut that out and edit it. Have a great day, folks. Day 3, I'm feeling much better, actually, just talking about everything and having Monica come by and pick up some stuff. Bless you all. Remember, my intentions are kind of big on the first few days. I'm clear, cleansing to be clear. And we'll be talking about throughout this cleanse cravings, and yesterday's video blog, very helpful, how to increase and decrease cleansing. Thank you, folks. Go to that video blog yesterday.